Hi everyone and welcome along. So today we're going to do a really lovely loose watercolor painting of some gorgeous peaches. Have I got that the right way up? Yeah. And essentially this is all about getting those larger brushes in your watercolor kit and seeing what they can do, because I don't know about you, but I rely on my little pointed round brushes way too much, and actually the best loose watercolor painting comes from confidence with the large brush. So we're going to paint some gorgeous peaches as they are in season at the moment, as amazingly shown off by the peach tree in my mum's garden, which was the ultimate inspiration for this. So grab your paints and let's get started. So we're going to focus on using this large round brush, which is a brush I often use more in a sort of mop capacity to sort of create big washes and things. But what it's also fantastic for is creating really lovely loose watercolor paintings and shapes. And the whole reason for that is because it's large and it allows you to cover a lot of distance on your page with as few brush strokes as possible. So I've woken up all the sort of peachy colours that I might need in my palette, and maybe also up here there's Quin Gold, that might be a good one. And then later on we might need some greens for the leaves. But I've got a nice large sort of 8.5 by 6.5 inch piece of paper. I've taped it down at the sides. I've got some rather snazzy washi tape, because washi tape is one of my little stationery addictions. But what I want to talk to you about is how best to get your paints ready for doing sort of smooth blends and washes. And the most important thing is to have all of your paints at a similar consistency. So I have got this Pyrrol orange here, and I'm just placing it in a spare area of my palette to sort of create the sort of liquidity of it to what I want it to be. And essentially I've got it here with lots of water in it. The colour is still fairly vibrant, but it's very, very liquid. So this is what I would call a coffee consistency, quite thin. And then I want to make sure I'm matching that with my other colours for a smooth blend. Now there will be points in this where I will want to maybe disrupt things a little bit with a slightly sort of erratic blend or bleed, and at that point I would change the consistency of my paint and possibly place in something a bit thicker. Joseph Spuvik, who is a rather legendary watercolour artist, talks a lot about the consistency chart, likening paint consistencies through from really thick and heavy and dry, referring that to butter, then going cream, milk, coffee, tea. And you can just imagine that he's talking about the thickness and the fluidity of the paint. So there would be points where I might want to mix in and place in a strong, bold piece that might be a bit more sort of cream consistency, and we'll see what that happens. But at this point, I'm just getting all my peachy colours ready in this coffee consistency, and that will allow us to be able to work quite fast because I've got everything ready to go before I'm starting. And also with the hope, I mean, you've also got to accept that sometimes things just go a bit wrong with watercolour, and that's why it's okay, because we're practicing, and you can just keep practicing and getting your water control better and better. But even for me and teachers all up and down the world, it can sometimes go wrong inexplicably. So I've got all my colours ready, and I think what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to go for it, and we're going to do some lovely circular colour blend peaches. Now, the way you hold the brush is also going to affect how successful your shapes are. If I hold the brush like this, in fact, let's get a piece of scrap paper and just demonstrate what I mean. So to paint a circle, if I hold the brush really on an angle, like how I'd hold a pen, it's going to capture the underside of the bristles. I mean, I quite like that, but you can see it's sort of a bit thinner there and much broader a stroke there. Whereas if I paint with the brush more vertically, I can control the evenness of that shape much better. But of course with peaches we're going to be filling in those shapes, and at points we might want to actually give the shape a bit more character by doing two sort of mirrored C curves and coming down and sort of choosing another colour and dropping that in. Now the other thing here, you can see these little deposits here are just little deposits of water as we come down. If you want to avoid having those, you can just use your dry brush to lift off a little bit, just like that. However, I'm not going to worry too much about those because I love the character, especially with something like a peach, even though the ones on my mum's tree are basically perfect and you can tell the envy in my voice. But on the whole, what we want to be able to do is create lovely character with these things. So say also I could take this wet shape and drop in a colour like that and just create that lovely range of gorgeous warm pinky bronze tones. So I think we just need to go. We need to go for it and not worry too much. I'm just going to go straight in with my shapes because I'm not going to worry too much about perfection. But one thing I do want to suggest is that you start by making sure your colours are like your slightly lighter colours. So I probably wouldn't go straight in with some alizarin crimson, but I would go for some of the like yellow ochres or buff titaniums. But enough dawdling, let's just go. So I do like that feeling of the two shapes like that and then dropping in, because the peaches have that lovely little dimple in them. And then it feels like I want to take just a slightly stronger bit of red there. And I've got some Pyrrole orange here. And you can see I'm just carefully letting them touch. Now, I don't know about you, but every time I do that double shape, I'm thinking about a peach cut in half. So I think that might be really cool to do. So, and we can place the stone in. Okay, and you can see how that's not a perfect shape. We're not worrying about perfection. We're interested in character here. So I'm going to leave that like that, and then later on we can place in a bit more interest. So I'm going to give this peach a bit more of a golden tone, a little bit of red in there as well. And I'm going to do another one up here that's got the stone in. Oh, I do really like the alizarin crimson knocking about in there. So I'm going to get some in there. But I think the key thing, another stone one, is that all my colours have that similar consistency to them. So without too much effort, we're getting smooth and even blends. And then just dropping in those shapes like that with the slightly stronger colour is working just fine. Now I've left these to dry a little bit longer, so there's a chance we might get a hard edge. But again, with the fact that I'm using quite a sparing amount of colour, means we're good. And I just couldn't resist doing that little dimple down the middle of the peach. So we'll keep going. And what I love about this is essentially you are doing a drill. Here you're doing a brush stroke drill, but you're also creating something really gorgeous that I think would be a lovely little artwork. Imagine having this in your kitchen. I just think it's really gorgeous. Or you could turn this into wrapping paper if you're into like digitizing your artwork. Oh, I really like that peachy colour. Funnily enough, peachy colour for peaches. There we go. So I've really sort of enjoyed using the ochre colours, Pyrrole orange, alizarin crimson, Loads of lovely stuff here. And I really found myself sort of using the brush quite fluidly, but trying to do it in as few brush strokes as possible. And I can see the really successful places where that worked really nicely. So I'm going to let that dry, and then we're going to come back and pop in some leaves and a little bit of detail. So how do you know if it's dry? Well, usually, obviously the shine of the water will not be reflecting off the light, and then you just start to get a feel for it. The colours start to fade just a little bit and really settle into the page. And then what I like to do is I just sort of do a very tentative, gentle little touch, and if it's just not even coming away, then we're all good. But I always like to leave it like an extra minute or two just to really let it settle in if you're going to be layering on top. So what I've done here is I've got my sap green, green gold here, and then I've got some deep sap green, and then I have some, oh whoops, got a bit of green on my brush, got a bit of quin gold, which is all sort of mixing into the green a bit, and then I've actually got some moon glow here, which I thought might be quite interesting for branches, and also some burnt sienna. So I want to try and do this whole piece with this brush just to show you how great it is as a really versatile all-rounder brush, and it is available in my shop, and I think it's just a really useful one to have in your kit. So I'm going to begin again with lighter colours first, and I'm going to just sort of have a little practice on my practice sheet. So we're going to be doing long leaves, and you can just see how wonderful this brush is when it comes to doing tapered lines with a nice fine point. And what I'm doing is I'm just press right down in the middle there. And then I like to sort of twist it off a little bit to finish off. So have a little practice first, and then when you're feeling, I mean, you don't have to feel confident, you just need to feel like you're up for it. And then we're just going to go in. And what I want to do is I want to kind of layer over some leaves, and I want to drop in some colour. I want to just want to have a bit of a play, really. And then I do also have deep sap green to come in with. So I'm layering these on top, but because they are quite a translucent layer, this is what we call a glaze. And then I can get that slightly thicker consistency of paint. We're going more into milk/cream, and I can just give these leaves a little wet on wet, extra bit of definition. But because they're still wet, it's going to bleed and blend in really nicely. And then what I want to do is to find places for my branches. So at this point, I think I quite like the idea of maybe just having those in the background there. And then you can always take a bit of moon glow and just kind of place that little bit of wet on wet darkness into the branch. Because I think it's always good to have that bit of contrast of darkness in your piece, even if it's just that tiny bit. And then, of course, we have got the peach stones, and I think we should go for, we'll get some burnt sienna. So a nice little bit of contrast here, and some quin gold, but quite concentrated. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the fine point, and I'm just going to very much use the tip of the brush like that. I'll get some moon glow. and just dip that in. And I think that looks really cool. So I'll try that again. I had one up here, didn't I? So tip of the brush, just sort of scribbling it up and down. What I love is I hadn't really planned to do peach stones, but they're sort of my favourite part of this now. So I think from this, essentially what we're taking is, this is a really fun way to learn about water control, to practice that, then to also help with your confidence for loose watercolour painting, trying to use a large brush and be able to just enjoy doing it with as few brush strokes as possible. And then finally, glazing, different techniques, and all the versatility of a single very large brush. And there you have a really fun page full of peaches, perfect for the summer. So next time you're wondering what to paint, you're not quite sure, look to nature. It's always got something new for you. And the best thing is to think about, well, what do you want to paint, but also what do you want to improve upon? And this covers so many of those bases, and it also leaves you with a really gorgeous kind of abstract piece. But this is the size 12 Pro Art Sabline brush that I have used for the entirety of this piece. It's available in my web shop and on Etsy, so head over there, add to your collection. It's a really fantastic brush. And of course, if you want to make sure you don't miss out on any other videos, check out our subscription based service on Patreon, where you can get so many more tutorials and videos that we don't have on YouTube. We go in way more in depth and detail, so if you're really enjoying your watercolour and want to take it to the next step, head over to Patreon. But for now, just let me know how you got on with that one. Like and comment and subscribe to the channel, which is for free on YouTube, and you can just enjoy more watercolour content. And yeah, it's fun to paint together, isn't it? So I will see you next time. Bye!